Meat is having a moment right now, especially for women, and there's been a lot of buzz about the carnivore diet, so I wanted to try it out. The carnivore diet is a restrictive diet. It allows for only meat, fish, eggs, and some dairy products, while excluding basically everything else. Fruits, veggies, legumes, nuts, seeds, grains. Because of this, it avoids basically all carbs, so some people say it is similar to the keto diet in that aspect. There's no really guidance on how many calories you should be consuming in a day, the serving sizes, how many meals, how many snacks, etc. So most sources say just eating as often and as much as you desire, but just only eating those foods specifically. What's super nice is my normal, average, like everyday breakfast already does follow the carnivore diet. I'm definitely gonna cook with butter. I normally butter the pan before I make eggs on it anyway. But for example, I'm not gonna use olive oil because olive is not animal based. You know, it's a plant. I don't even have to change up my breakfast though. That's exciting. I already know I like it. My usual is 2 eggs and 1/4 cup of cottage cheese, all mixed together. Butter the pan. Add the mix, little salt, little pepper, and scramble. I love just keeping these in the freezer. Super nice and easy and convenient for breakfast. And just heat them up in the microwave. I really do feel like the cottage cheese adds to the eggs. It makes them fluffier, it adds volume, it adds protein. I really love making them this way, and this is such a great breakfast. It makes me feel so good. Although one difference is I do normally try to pair this with a fruit, and then that is my carb to get in here. Running to the grocery store today because I definitely don't keep that much meat on stock in my fridge, so I have to load up for the week and prepare. Just spent nearly $100 on meat, something I can definitely say I've never done before. Here is the spread. I do have a couple things in my freezer I'm gonna be using. This really is so much meat. I've never had a grocery run like this before. And some of this will be for 2 people, but not all of it. For lunch, I wanna try one of these chicken sausages. They are fully cooked, which is nice. I normally get the ones that are like apple gouda or a chipotle flavor or something like that, but I got the plain ones because I feel like if I get one with apple in it, that's kind of cheating, right? Or I had a spinach feta one before, which is really good. So I'm gonna have this. This is really awesome for lunch. And I'm not super hungry right now. I slept in today, had a late breakfast. We'll have this, and then we're gonna do steaks a little bit. I'm excited. This honestly looks so unappetizing. You're supposed to heat it in a bit of water. I'm gonna be washing a lot of pans throughout the week, that's for sure. Honestly, this is good. I was thinking it would need to be seasoned or like dipped in something, but I'm fine with eating it plain. I bet you are so jealous. I am so hungry. I mean, you saw I didn't eat that much today. I have no idea how to cook a steak. I've never done it before. I'm not really the one doing it, but so I'm really hoping this turns out good because I do love steak. We're each having 1 steak to ourselves for dinner. This says it's 0.7 pounds. I wonder how much protein is in that. This looks so good. Tax, you know? Wait. Get it?
I think it's medium. Like, I'd like it a little more pink.
Okay. But hey, we're learning.
Like, these pieces I feel like are better. Like, this is the small side, this
yeah.
is the thick side. I think the thick side's good and the small side.
That's also the fun part of doing a challenge like this. We learn so much.
Yeah.
First ever homemade steak. I think it's pretty good. It was good for the price. Something I like about this too is like, it takes you a while to eat and it's like satisfying. We're thinking that the second one turned out even better. It was way more of an even cut. Beautiful. That's really good.
I think the first one was like a medium cook, and usually you want a medium rare.
So I'm a little hungry, not gonna lie. Also following dinner, I was like, oof, I just want something sweet. You know, I'm a huge sweet tooth, which obviously I'm gonna be lacking this week because meat isn't really sweet, right? I'm not doing this to be like, oh, watch me drop 10 pounds in a week or something. I truly just wanna know what it's like because I do wanna make it a goal to be eating more meat. Not fully 100% meat, I wanna try this just for a week, but I would like to eat more meat, less processed protein, stuff like that, just on the daily basis. But right now I'm like, I don't wanna go snack on a bite of chicken, you know, like that just doesn't sound good. So I'm gonna drink some water, maybe hydrate. Sometimes you just need some more water in you. And if I am hungry, I might have a glass of milk. Which, when's the last time I've had a glass of milk? Just plain old glass of milk? Couldn't tell you, but that might be... Today might be the day, I don't know. Salt and pepper is allowed to season your meats, and really depending on the source and what you are reading from and getting your information from, seasonings from there kind of vary. Condiments aren't really allowed. You know, most condiments aren't from animals. Ketchup, for example, is from tomatoes. Mustard, right, that's a seed. Many sources say you can eat cheese, yogurt, milk. Gonna make some more coffee, and I am gonna be using this. This is from a cow. It is cow's milk. It's just filtered in a way where it's higher protein and it's lactose free. So still animal based. We are doing shrimp for lunch. I just grabbed what was cheapest at the store. Ideally, I would have liked a larger shrimp, but that's okay. And these apparently already are cooked, so I'm just gonna throw them on the stove with some seasoning. 3 ounces is a serving, but because this is all I'm having for lunch, I'm obviously doing more than a serving. I am just gonna cook it in butter and a little bit of seasonings, garlic powder and paprika, and probably some salt and pepper. I know it's already cooked, but I want to flavor the outsides, right? I'm not just trying to eat a bunch of plain shrimp. I don't even have cocktail sauce. I don't even think I can have cocktail sauce. So at least seasoning it is okay. And hopefully this is a good lunch. I like shrimp, but I do think you have to season it in order to eat like a lot of it with nothing else. Trying to mix in seafood with like the red meat and chicken and stuff, you know. Honestly, looks and smells pretty good. Not bad. I think I could definitely eat a bowl of this. This whole week, I'm definitely gonna be eating a lot more fats and a lot less carbs than I normally do. So I'm wondering if it's gonna kind of affect my energy levels. I had a second coffee today, but that is normal for me. But carbs do give you energy. Fats are good to have for your hormone health and just in general. So I don't really know how this is all gonna affect me. Pretty good shrimp, honestly. I expected it to be a lot worse, not gonna lie. I'm so hungry. It's not even 4 o'clock. Like, protein fills you up, right? Like, the carnivore diet should keep you full, but wrong burner. I truly just have not had enough yet today, but I do not want more seafood. I like seafood, but I can only have so much at once, right? So I am gonna just heat up another one of these chicken sausages. I feel good, like my gut feels good. I don't feel like bloated and like blah, but I'm hungry. Dinner number 2, steak number 2. Last night we did a New York strip steak. Today we spent a little more and went with a beef tenderloin. I actually salted it earlier today because you're supposed to, and then it gets darker in color. And we're thinking this one might be a little tastier. We'll see how it goes. Are you kidding? Already. Our smoke detectors are so sensitive. We literally put the steak to the pan, and like a second later it went off. I could not. I was waving the stupid towel around for forever. My arms are tired. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't think we have a fan either. Do we? We gotta have a fan. I turned on the microwave, under the microwave fan. Attempt number 2. It has to cook in the oven after you cook the sides of it, so we're just taking it out now. Temperature's good, and now it rests. So we have more of a rare steak. Honestly, the camera is making it look way more almost like purpley. In real life, it doesn't look that raw, but it's definitely on the more rare side. We'll probably cook the next one a little longer. That's good. Definitely, you can tell that it's like definitely different than yesterday's.
Much better than yesterday. It was just a better cut of meat.
It's very good. We are eating good. No wonder it was so expensive. It takes me so much longer to eat something like this because it takes so long to chew it, but that's good. Like, it's good for your jaw, it's good for your stomach, you're eating slower. It's very high in protein. Both of those together make you fuller longer. Second try is indeed better than the first try. Just takes practice. So what are the pros to this? Like, why would someone want to eat this way? Well, it's super great for avoiding ultra-processed foods. And when I say ultra-processed, I mean like potato chips, right? Because you're eating so much protein, it is super satiating. And oftentimes, at the end of the day, can make you consume less calories than you might normally. It makes you cook at home more. It makes you eat a high-protein diet. It can help you burn body fat. And it really helps build and maintain muscle mass because of such a high protein content. It helps reduce cravings because of all the protein. There really are a lot of benefits. There's also a lot of cons, right? You're getting essentially no fiber. You might be lacking in some vitamins and minerals. Of course, through meat and animal products, you get vitamins and minerals, but you might be lacking in some. It tends to be low in vitamin C, which is not good. It is expensive. Meat's not cheap, right? It's great to eat. I normally eat meat, but it can be pricey. And the quality of meat may vary as well depending on where you're getting it from. And it's super restrictive, right? Just like any other diet that completely eliminates things or only allows you a very specific group of things, it is restrictive. Honestly, the biggest con in my opinion. Today's lunch is just some plain chicken breast. Chicken is not fun if you don't season it. Like, a plain chicken breast with nothing on it, like, just doesn't sound appetizing. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to cook it with, so I put butter on it and then literally just like Lowry's seasoned salt. It smells really good. I think it's gonna taste pretty decent. I needed to get some chicken on the rotation. I just like miss other food. I feel like with any diet, if you specifically cut things out, like, it just makes you want other things more. That's why I don't diet, and this is a fun challenge. And some people genuinely do eat this way, but so far I'm like, it's not for me. I like meat and I want to eat more meat, but only meat, pretty good. This is a little over 5 ounces. I'm hoping it keeps me full. It's pretty ironic because I've been getting so hungry, and eating only meat, it's a lot of protein, so it should be really satiating. But the thing is, like, I get so bored of eating only meat that, like, I just simply quit early, and I'm probably not eating enough, which is why I'm getting so hungry. But like, the thought of taking another bite of chicken breast right now, it's just so unappetizing. And it's not like I've been eating only like dry, gross chicken. Like, I've been doing a lot of variations. So, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry. It's 4:25 and I'm hoping we start making dinner pretty soon. For dinner, we grilled burgers, so I have cheese over top mine, which is nice. It'll be so yummy, and then cooked some bacon with it. There's just Lowry's on the burger. I'm not gonna add any condiments. Having the cheese and the bacon to go with the burger because I couldn't have condiments or a bun definitely made it manageable. And where did this even come from, right? Like, why did people start thinking, oh, let's only eat meat? Well, it is controversial, right? And some people believe that, like, human ancestors ate only really meat and fish, and that compared to today's society, obviously that is not the case, and today's standard, American diet may lead to high rates and risks of chronic diseases. I got this ready to eat smoked salmon. Never bought this from the grocery store before. To be honest, I like raw salmon more than cooked salmon, and this is just smoked, so I think I'll like it a lot. Would be much better if it was in a sushi roll. This will be my lunch. It's 140 calories for the whole thing, so I'm probably gonna need to eat more. Obviously, that's not a lot, but I really don't want that chicken breast, so it's gonna be my lunch for now. I'm getting kind of desperate at this point. I do not want meat, but I'm allowed to have milk, and I need something else in my body. It is also nice that this is high protein milk, so we're gonna have at least a hefty cup of this. I cannot tell you the last time I've drank a glass of milk. I don't like having a big breakfast early in the morning. I mean, it's not early, it's like 8:30, but I've been waking up so hungry and like too hungry to go to the gym after just coffee. Like, I need food, so I've been eating before the gym lately, which is not something I typically do because I normally have protein coffee. I decided to get a little bit more creative with my lunch. Instead of just a slab of meat, we have 2 different kinds of meat and some cottage cheese, so I'm actually pretty excited to eat this, and I think it will be very flavorful. Dinner is a tuna steak. I buy these all the time. I actually love making them, and big glass of milk. I'm probably gonna need more later though, because this is not enough. Also, tuna is like pure protein. For the nutritional info, the averages for the week, I average about 1,500 calories, which is typically a little less than I eat, but I am working on building up my metabolism. I would like to be able to burn more and eat more. I averaged around 130 grams of protein, which is really awesome, all from natural sources. I normally try to eat around this much, but I do use protein powder. About 20 grams of carbs, which honestly that came mostly from my coffee creamer. I did put a little bit of creamer in my coffee every morning. I let myself have it. Coffee is like one of the biggest things I look forward to every day, every morning, so I wasn't gonna strip myself of all joy. Obviously, this was very low carb for my typical, and then 100 grams of fats, which was way above my typical. I wanted to be very open-minded going into this. I like meat. I enjoy eating meat, and I wanted to just see what it was like to really eat only meat and nothing else, so I was ready for it. I was like, it's not very long either. Like, let's see what happens. So from my experiences, I found that it was kind of hard to flavor and season the meat, right? Think about like a chicken breast. Eating a plain chicken breast is so unappetizing. Maybe if you have a burger, right, that's something you don't need to season a ton, but some meats are harder to season than others. And I did use salt and pepper, and I used a couple different seasonings, but because I couldn't just like slap on condiments and stuff, I did have to get creative, and it was
kind of tough, which I did expect. I found that I didn't really feel bloated ever. Like, it was really awesome on my gut, and I never got that post-meal tired, where sometimes if I eat either a high sugar meal or more of just like an unhealthy meal or a lot of food or fast food, or you get where I'm going with this, right? A lot of times I'll finish eating and I'll just feel groggy and tired and like, oh, I need a nap. I never really got that post-meal exhaustion, which was super nice. I could tell I was super low in fiber. I did not go to the bathroom in that sense very much. Like, that was something that slowed down a lot, and I just was not regular throughout the week. Like, it was kind of crazy. I noticed it right away. Although coffee comes from a bean, I did allow myself coffee simply because I'm sorry, but I can't. I just can't go without it. And even after drinking my morning coffee, you know what happens when you drink your morning coffee, right? Like, that just didn't really escalate things for me even. Like, I had such low fiber that I just stopped things happening. I didn't really experience a low energy from no carb consumption, which is something I thought might happen to me. But I didn't feel tired and empty and just exhausted, because carbs is a macronutrient, right? That gives you energy. And I really thought like, oh, no carbs, like I'm gonna be so tired. I didn't experience that, which was nice. You know, you don't want to experience that. I would always wake up super hungry in the morning, and I'm not someone that typically likes to wake up and cook breakfast right away, especially since I was eating only meat. Like, I had to cook things, right? I couldn't just wake up and like grab a bowl of yogurt or anything super quick, and I didn't like that. I normally do protein coffee every morning, and that fills me up a little bit, and then I make breakfast a little bit later. I really like that routine, and I did stray away from it, obviously, and I wasn't personally a fan of that. I didn't want to wake up and eat, but I woke up hungry, so I kind of had to. So that was just personal preference. I got so sick of it. So sick of it so fast. And I wouldn't consider myself someone who, you know, snacks a ton throughout the day and like eats a bunch of like random stuff, but eating only one type of thing gets so old so fast. Yes, it made me feel great inside, but like mentally and just, I'm someone who really likes food. I look forward to my meals. I like to put things together. I like to cook at home. I like to have a variety of things. And removing that from my life, it was kind of like removing a bit of joy. I had less to look forward to, and I was super bored. Like, I was just counting down the moments and the meals until this was over. It really took a big part of my day away from me. And I don't think it's unhealthy to really enjoy food, right? Unless it's an obsession and it's, you know, you're eating chips by the bag, things like that. But in my normal mindset, you know, I look forward to my meals. I like having a variety of things, and just removing that variety away, it was sad. Like, it was harder for me mentally than I thought it was gonna be, because in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, oh, it's just a week. It'll go by fast. But it was just, I didn't realize how big of a part of my day-to-day life it was destroying by making me so restrictive. And that is part of the reason I will never commit to a diet, no matter what it is, carnivore or something else, because simply the restriction aspect does so much damage to me mentally. That was the worst part for me, honestly. It was bad. It's been almost a full week since I did this carnivore diet, and I still have not made eggs. Simply because I just got so sick of eating so much meat, I needed a break. It was fun to kind of push me out of my comfort zone a little bit and, you know, buy a steak from the grocery store and bring it home and cook it. I've never done something like that, and I just never really have thought to, because, you know, steak can be expensive and stuff like that, but I do want to try to do that more often because it was fun. It's cool to learn how to make something like that. It's a fun dinner. Like, it was a cool experience, so I am really happy that it got me to try things. And it really did make my body overall feel really good, and it is motivation for me to up my meat intake throughout my days and my weeks, but I just could never commit to only meat, and I don't think that anyone really should, in my opinion. I just hate restriction because you want what you can't have, right? So like, by restricting yourself, it makes you just want the other things so much more than if you allowed yourself to have those things. You don't want them as bad than when you can't have them. At least that's how I work. My brain operates that way. I feel like all the protein kind of made me feel strong in a way. Maybe that was just mentally, but I felt a little bit of a ego boost in the strength department. Like, I just felt secure. It did make me a little concerned for my health. I mean, doing this only for a week, not even a full week, I was gonna be fine. But I did think, I'm like, you know, the vitamin C, or like what am I missing? You know, you do get a lot through meat, like I've said, but I just felt like, what am I missing? Is this bad? Am I really adding to my visceral fat? Like, what is it actually doing inside my body that I don't really know and like I don't know how to measure, I really wondered about those things. It was so hard for me to stay full, which is very ironic because meat and protein is very satiating, right? So you'd think, okay, if you're eating only meat, you're probably full very often. But because I was eating only meat, I could not eat that much of it. Meat is pretty low in calories, so, you know, to eat a full like meal's worth, you kind of have to eat a good amount of it, and I simply just didn't want to. You know, I would eat however much and just get so sick of it and so turned off by it that I just couldn't do it. I'd have to take a break. And it was so little calorie that I would then get hungry. Like, because it was so restrictive, I just couldn't get myself to eat as much as I should to have an actual appropriate sized meal and enough of it, if that makes sense. So in the mornings and before bed, I would be so hungry, but I'm like, I don't want to go eat meat right now. At one point, the thought of taking a bite of a chicken breast without like dipping it in anything or putting it in something just made me want to throw up. I was like, this is just so like bland and boring. And I did do a good job of having a lot of variety. I had a lot of different red meats. I had some seafood, and I didn't just rely on chicken breast because I feel like it's one of the most unappetizing meats if you don't like dress it up. So I tried to have a good variety, and it still just got old. I wanted to do this for a full week, a full 7 days, and I really tried, and I lasted 5. So I did it for a work week. I could not take it through the weekend. I just couldn't. I got so sick of the food. I was becoming unwell mentally. I gave up. I said 5 days and I called it quits. So I did technically fail this challenge of doing it for a week, but still after 5 days, I feel like I made really concrete observations, at least with how it went for me, my body, my mental health, all of that. And I think they would have just continued if I had done it 2 more days. The reason I did eat all the red meat right away is mainly because we didn't want to freeze it. You know, we bought the steaks and we bought the stuff for burgers. I wanted to eat it more fresh. So we went to the grocery store and ate that for dinner, like back to back to back to back, you know, until I ran out. And that's why I ended off kind of with the tuna steak because that was in the freezer and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I arranged the order of things. Then for lunches, you know, I did more of the chicken or the seafood or whatever I could put together. Breakfast was the same every day, which was totally fine by me, and stuff I already normally eat. When reading about this and researching this, something I thought was super interesting was I read this on Healthline. I like to read things on Healthline because I feel like it's a pretty credible source, but a huge advocate for the carnivore diet is someone named Sean Baker, who is an American orthopedic doctor, and he claims that several of his clients that do this diet claim that it helped treat their depression, anxiety, arthritis, obesity, and more, which reading that statement, I'm like, yes, the carnivore diet can definitely help you burn fat. It can help you lose weight, and if you are obese, that probably helps a lot of other health issues. And you know, maybe if you have less fat on you, maybe you're also motivated to exercise more, right? Like it could kind of be this domino effect. But I always think extreme opinions are typically problematic, right? No matter what they are, a very, very extreme opinion, oftentimes you can find some issues with it. And so I kept reading and found that in 2017, his medical license was revoked by the board due to concerns about his competency. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, that's wild. It was then reinstated in 2019, but he's required to have direct supervision when practicing medicine. I was like, man, like that's just wild. So just a heads up, like when you see someone online having these super, super strong opinions about these intense things, you know, the carnivore diet is pretty intense. It's very restrictive. It's like hard, like it's very intense. Maybe look into it a little bit and think twice about it. Some sources recommend that for part of this diet, you eat fatty cuts of meat in order to reach your energy needs for the day, and also incorporating organ meats like liver and stuff like that to ensure your intake of vitamins and things like that. I didn't go to the grocery store and buy organ meat because number one, I actually didn't even think about it when I was there. Number two, I'm assuming you can just get it at your local grocery store. That's nothing I went to buy. Number three, when you first read about the carnivore diet, it doesn't necessarily say you have to eat organs or like you have to buy them. It's just suggested like, oh hey, you're probably low in vitamin C if you're doing this a long time, get some organ meat. And so I personally didn't eat organ meat, but if you're gonna try this, maybe consider it. I also didn't expect to like lose a bunch of weight or have dramatic changes to my body. You know, it was literally a week, like not even a full week. Of course I wasn't gonna have these crazy changes, but I did feel good and my body did feel good, but I would never be able to do this long term. If you're interested, especially because it's getting a lot of buzz right now, you know, maybe try it for a few days. Anything super restrictive, I know it's not gonna be a long-term lifestyle for me. However, all of my other opinions and observations and findings were kind of interesting, and they do motivate me to eat more meat, I will say. So I'm gonna continue working on that. Let me know your thoughts thoughts and your opinions. Have you ever done something like this? Will you ever do something like this? Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you in my next one.